Welcome everyone to my channel. This is your first time here. Well, pull up a seat, sit down. We're gonna talk. Okay? If you've been here before, well, you know the drill. So do the same thing. Pull up a seat, sit down. We're gonna talk about this, whatever this is. I have it written up there, but I'm just totally not doing it tonight. Okay? This is The Dragon King's Palace by author Laura Jo Roland. It is part of the Sami Ichiro series, and this is book 8. And I didn't know that when I bought it. I just like the title, the cover, the back. Just oh good. I'm like, listen to this. On a whim of the shogun's mother, a procession has left the sweltering heat of Edo, bound for the cooler climate of Mount Fuji. Among her traveling companions are Reiko, the beautiful wife of Sano Ichiro, which is the name of the series, the shogun's most honorable investigator, Reiko's friend Midori, 9 months pregnant, and Lady Yanagisawa, the deranged wife of the shogun's powerful second-in-command. None of them looks forward to the trip, but their troubles have only begun when their procession is stopped suddenly on a deserted road. The entire retinue is viciously slaughtered, and the 4 women are bound and taken away. Sano now finds himself faced with the most important case of his career. The shogun demands quick action, and in the threat of death, Sano is forced to work with his bitter enemies. The delivery of a ransom note only complicates matters, forcing both Sano and Reiko to take desperate measures. So, basically, Lady Kiesho In is the mother to the shogun, and she decides to take Lady Yanagisawa, who is a chamberlain's wife, Sano Reiko, who is the honorable investigator's wife, Hirata Midori, who is the wife of Hirata, a detective under Sano, on a trip. And the only reason why she's taking Midori, because she's 9 months pregnant, is because she's friends with Reiko. That's the only reason for that. The same with Lady Yanagisawa. Same reason. But Lady Yanagisawa is a little cuckoo in the head because she loves her husband, but her husband does not like women very much at all. He's usually in a relationship with a man and does not show favor to her or their daughter, Kikuko. And she is extremely jealous of Reiko. Now, that's just crazy talk, okay? So she says, I want to go to Mount Fuji, even though there is a pilgrimage there and women can't go on that pilgrimage. I still want to travel to the bottom of Mount Fuji and just view the mountain like surrounding the mountain Fuji, which is actually a volcano, by the way. Okay? And so those 3 ladies are forced to go on the trip because nobody says no to the mother's shogun. I mean, like, hello, if you want to live, you're not gonna say no. You're gonna go. Okay? So on their way there, they get ambushed, of course, and they get captured and stolen. Now, there's only one person who actually survives the massacre. That is not the 4 ladies that got kidnapped, and that name is Surin. She pretended to be dead after she was sliced from chest down, viciously left for dead. How she survived back then in the Edo time, I do not know. I mean, it's a miracle. Okay? Now, this is during the Tokugawa period of the shogun's reign, and the guy is Tokugawa Tsunayoshi. Now, the Tokugawas did reign back in the Edo period time, but this time most likely didn't exist, so this is why it's called historical fiction, okay? When they're kidnapped, he demands swift action, but they don't know who did it, they don't know what happened or anything like that, so people are about sent out to investigate, and that's when they find out a few things. Now, there is a criminal organization called the Black Lotus that exists at this time, and they're like, well, maybe it's a Black Lotus. So let's go search up information about that. And someone's like, well, what if it's this person's father, who didn't really like me? Because Hirota's wife, Midori's father, did not like him at all. We don't even get his first name. I don't think we do. Anyways, I don't explore. I don't see it. I don't know it. So there's that. And it's just like, eh? So, Sano Reiko did not want to leave because she's got her son, Masahiro, and her beloved husband, Ichiro. And Reiko actually works for her husband in investigating cases to solve them, because that's what he does as an investigator. He's technically a detective back then, and he sits there and solves crimes. So this is like a very important case, because not only is it his wife that's missing, it's the Shogun's mother that's missing, and of course it's on top of it his underling, probably second in command, wife also missing, and of course it's the Chamberlain's wife as well. So like it's top tier. Oh my god, what the fuck am I gonna do? Type thing. I've gotta figure this shit out. And so Chamberlain Yanagasawa thinks it's this person here. So he goes off and he talks to his rivals who want to take over and becoming close to the Shogun, because the Shogun does not have a proper heir. So they're trying to get their sons in there. Yanagisawa has a son who is currently favored by the Shogun. But of course, his rivals also have a son that is sort of favored. So they just want to get in there. And he's like, well, you probably kidnapped my lady wife, to help bolster yourself and make you more important. So that way, I will be pulled away from being very important to the Shogun. And so I want you to give him back. Hirata's like, well, I think, no, not Hirata. Police Commissioner Hoshino thinks it's somebody else. So he goes to this faction that is also a rival to him, and he's like, I know you guys don't like me. How could you sit there and kidnap the Shogun's wife? Of course, all of them deny doing it, and all of them were correct in denying doing it because none of them did it. And Sano Ichiro goes, Black Lotus must have done it. They must be involved somehow, because they are like the bad people who are trying to just overthrow the Tokugawa Empire, or Shogun. And so he's like, let me go investigate that. Now, Sano Ichiro had the main idea in that. Okay? So, the main bad guy, who calls himself the Dragon King, because his palace is on an island and it's like surrounded by like, I don't know, it's just a weird place to go when he thinks himself as the Dragon King. Okay? He went to the Black Lotus, to the priest there, to see if he couldn't find something out about his lover that had died. And so he wanted to know some information. So yes, the Black Lotus was involved in a certain way, but only to give you more hints on who the actual bad guy is. Okay? So the Dragon King, we don't learn who his name is when we flip over to Reiko's side of things. Well, we're learning stuff on Sano's side, right? So on Reiko's side, she finds out that the Dragon King was in love with a woman named Anome. He is currently in love with a woman named Anemone. Okay, so Anemone is a woman he was in love with that died by drowning. So that's why he does the Dragon King's poem, which is what the thing's completely and utterly based off of, is the Dragon King's poem about a woman drowning and the Dragon King reviving her and bringing her back to life. So he thinks that Reiko is the reincarnation of his lover, that she is possessed by Anemone. I'm never going to say that name right. And so tries to curry favor with her in a way, okay? Reiko is able to negotiate with him to get better accommodations, because Midori is freaking 9 months pregnant, about to give birth at any moment. And she does actually give birth in captivity, okay, to a beautiful baby girl that Reiko sits there and delivers, okay? So through all the investigations that Sano did, he finally gets a name, Anemone. They learn that the person was drowned by her husband, Danoshin, which is the last name. We don't get the guy's first name, okay? They find out through that Danoshin actually knew Police Commissioner Hoshino. Okay? There's a reason for that, okay? So they get a letter with the Dragon King's poem with on it, right? And on the end of it, it says to name Police Commissioner Hoshino as a murderer and execute him, and I will return the Shogun's mother and the 3 ladies in waiting. 3 ladies that I kidnapped, okay? And they're like, well, what the fuck did you do, Hoshino? And then he's like, I don't know. So they had tried to go through all the people that died by his hand or by association with him that he thought was important. But he didn't think about Anemone. And the reason why is because he covered it the fuck up himself, okay? So he was in a relationship with both the husband and Anemone, okay? But the husband did not know at first that the Hoshino was having relations with his wife, okay? And so when he found that out, he drowned his wife and then killed himself. Alright, so the thing is that happens in the beginning of the book. But what we don't know is that somebody witnessed it and did absolutely nothing about it, okay? So their son, Nanoshin Minoru, witnessed everything. He knew that his white mother was cheating on his father, told his father who it was and everything, and then went out and watched his father throw his mother overboard and row away. Now, instead of rowing out there to save his mother, he lets her drown because he's angry at her for cheating, basically. And he watches his father shoot himself, and by the time he gets over himself to save his mother's already gone drowned. Now here's the kicker. Anemone, it was his lover and his mother. They were having relations together. And when he tried to have relations with Reiko, because Reiko was trying to trick him so she could kill him and escape, he couldn't get it up because Anemone was the person he loved and he couldn't get up for anyone else but her. And it enraged him. Well, Ichiro killed Minoru because Minoru was the Dragon King that kidnapped him. And then we learned the child's name because the child was born, okay? The child's name is Takeo. Alright, so there we go. That's the gist of this one. I'm going to assume the first 7 were about Sano and his wife doing a bunch of investigations, and the 10 after are also that. I don't know if there's going to be more or not, but this is a very long series, and I might be invested to read these. I might actually see maybe if I could find audibles about them or ebooks, or if somebody sends me a book. I'm not going to go out and purchase more of this, even though I did really like it and I enjoyed it a lot. I don't want to invest in another 18 book series on top of the other things I have invested into, okay? Because, I mean, like, I love the Realm of the Elder Rings, what I've read so far. I know I'm going to love that time of Reincarnated Business 9, so I can't wait to dive deeper into that. I got all of my mangas that I have to dive into. There's a bunch of Gina Showalls down there, and then there's so much that I read that has a lot of books in it that I don't really want to invest my money into another long ass series. Okay, so that's just the way that's gonna go. So my favorite character was Reiko because she was a brilliant woman that used her skills to keep herself and her companions safe during a terrible time. And definitely since Yamisagawa, the lady, was attempting to kill her plenty of times in the past and actually threw her out a freaking window into the water where she didn't think she was going to land in the water, trying to kill her at the castle on the island. Okay? It's like crazy. My most disliked character was the police commissioner Hoshino because he only cared about elevating his status to the shogun to the point where when he realized that his lover was not going to take care of him, he just ended the relationship with his lover. Which I don't blame you, dude. The guy was going to let you die to save his career, not you. Of course, you would have done the same if it had been the opposite and Yana Sagagawa was appointed as somebody to be a killer. So you're just as bad, right? What stood out as memorable was even though Sano has done a lot of good police work for the Shogun, he didn't trust him at all because he was listening to a priest for a while about how none of them were doing a good job and they should all be thrown in jail and executed because they're not bringing home the mother. And in the end, Sano figured it all out and rescued the lady mother with his detective crew. My favorite passage from the story is the way the shoreline curved around the forest and back toward the keep, and the ever-present vista of the lake confirmed her worst suspicion. The castle was on an island. She was trapped. The reason why I liked it is because her investigations into what she was doing when she escaped, because she did escape once, was to attempt to go find help. But she realized quickly on that was non-negotiable, non-happening, can't happen, because they were on an island. And she figured it out soon after she escaped, and then she spent the rest of the time before she was captured again trying to hide from them. So she could attempt to get into a boat, steal it, and go to the islands to find help. My favorite quote is, "Whatever did happen," Sano continued, "the Dragon King bears the entire blame. Forget him. Don't give him the power. Give him more power than he had while he was alive, or more thought than he deserves." So Reiko doesn't want to tell her husband that she allowed the Dragon King to almost have sexual relations with her in order to make him vulnerable, so that way she could kill him, because it hurt her as well. She hated every second of it. She thought she needed to do it, but she didn't want to cheat on her husband because she really dearly loves her husband so very much that when she made a choice, it tore her up on the inside more than what happened to her body on the outside. But it sounds like, I'm not going to blame you for what happened while you were captured by him. I'm going to place the blame directly on the Dragon King. And that made her feel infinitely more better about herself, even though she couldn't tell her husband exactly what happened. She knew in her heart that they were going to be okay if she ever did tell. What is that about the end of the book? Everyone is safe. They need to be safe, at least. And the Dragon King is dead. That's very good. Reiko may be scared, but Ichiro will heal her, and I'm sure in the books after her, 9 through 18, there are a lot of healing loves in there for Reiko. Okay. What book did it remind me of? A little like Sherlock Holmes with his detective side and how they did investigations and everything, but with different perspectives, because in Sherlock Holmes, you only have Watson's perspective of how things are done. You don't really have any other separations for it, because it's all Watson's witnesses. This one, you have Hirata's, you have Ichiro's, and you have Reiko's, all different perspectives mashing together to give you exactly what the story was about and how the investigations happened. Because not only did Hirata do his own investigations that he was sent out to do, but Ichiro did his own investigations as well, and Reiko did her own investigations too. So you had 3 different sides of how things were investigated and how they compiled information. Because Hirata found the island before Sano and Ichiro knew who the person was, or that they were on an island, and he had made the decision, I think was a slightly good decision, but maybe could have been like send somebody back to tell them, and it would have been over sooner, to go to the island to try to rescue the women, but instead they did guerrilla warfare, picking them off, which made it easier for the invading people that Ichiro brought later on to invade the island better and have an easier time capturing them or killing the people who had stolen the 4 women. This book is as part of a series called Sano no Ichiro, and it has 18 books within a series. And like I said, I don't want to commit myself fully to the whole 18-book series, so I will be unhauling this. But, I could be convinced to read more if you guys think I should read more of it, or if more books show up on my doorstep. So I rate this at 3.25 for the good investigation of it and how it is about the Edo period in the back. Really, I mean, I enjoyed it. I did, but I didn't enjoy it enough to say want to keep it. I've realized something about myself through all this reading and stuff is that I do like the more fantasy side of things instead of the fiction side. And though this was historical fiction, if it was historical fantasy, I probably would have enjoyed it more because I kind of like it when people got powers. I don't know if you noticed it about me. Even though I am enjoying other things that are not, but something like this, I don't know. Maybe it's just because it's historical fiction? I can't say I didn't give it a try though. So, if you guys think it deserves a like, comment, and a lovely subscription, drop it down below. I will see you next illusion.